We need to talk about the knowledge economy. It's fundamentally broken, and I want to take it apart and talk about each of the pieces. We're going to talk about college. We're going to talk about job seeking. We're going to talk about how knowledge accumulates in the economy, and underneath it all, AI. So stick with me. Number one, let's learn about the knowledge doubling curve. The knowledge doubling curve is actually something that Buckminster Fuller came up with in the 20th century. What he realized is the pace at which humans are gaining knowledge is getting faster. And so until 1900, Buckminster Fuller observed that it took about a century for human knowledge to double. Post-World War II, the doubling rate had gotten 4 times faster. It was up to 25 years. Sources in the early 2000s suggested it had gotten as fast as every 12 or 13 months. Guess what, guys? It got faster. When you have the ability of entire gigantic pieces of software to be re-released and re-released every 3 or 4 months because of AI, you are seeing signs that you are in a world where we are super linear on this knowledge curve. What I call it is a knowledge hyperinflation economy. It's a world where knowledge is becoming so ubiquitous, it is almost impossible to keep up. You can't read it all. You can't consume it all. And this looks like the world we live in, doesn't it? I get so many DMs and emails every day saying, Nate, how do you keep up with all of it? And the honest truth is, I can't, and you can't, and nobody can. We all just do our best. It's not just keeping up with AI news, though. It is also, hey, how can I get the skills I need for this new economy? Where do I go to learn? Do I go back and get my MBA? Is there an MBA in AI that I can get? Do I go to college? And do I try and major in computer science when computer science curriculums haven't changed? Do I try and go for liberal arts? Because apparently, Andrei Karpathy says the future programming language is English. So I'm going to double down on my Tolstoy. What's it going to be? This uncertainty itself is a sign that the cultural signifier of knowledge is breaking down. What knowledge used to mean in human society is no longer true. And so all of the cultural rituals that go with knowledge are losing their value. That is why people feel like they can question college. That is why students feel like it's rational to hit up ChatGPT and just get through college with as good a grades as possible. It's a ritual that's lost meaning. It's not about learning for the sake of learning. It's about getting the grades, getting the network, getting into the job. This is why Roy and Cluley have hit such a chord, because they are speaking a truth that a lot of people have held in their hearts and not wanted to say out loud, that this feels like a rigged system. And the only rational thing to do in a rigged system is to do whatever you can to get ahead. Unfortunately, the knowledge economy doesn't just stop in a college situation. It doesn't just stop with how we acquire skills. It bleeds into the job market as well. And so when we look around us, the job application system is also broken. Monster filed for bankruptcy. Do you remember the Monster ads, the Super Bowl ads? It was the whole thing. Anyway, Monster was one of the first internet companies, and they made their bones on saying that jobs would be easy to find on the internet. And now guess what? Resumes aren't worth a lot. Monster's not sticking around. What do? What I take away from this is that we're in a world where not only is the accumulation of knowledge something that has become devoid of meaning, so is the demonstration of knowledge to job applicants and to employers. Job applicants have to demonstrate knowledge, and they only can do it by resume because that's what we've always done. And if they can only do it by resume because that's what we've always done, we have no way of knowing if applicants are any good, because the stochastic parrots, LMs, can simulate a resume perfectly. So what do? And right now, the truth is no one knows. Some of the big companies are coming in and saying, come in person. Some of them are coming in and saying, do something on a whiteboard, write something where it's clearly not an AI helping you, at least for now, until the AI is in your glasses. The AI is not in my glasses. The point is that we answers for jobs that do not depend on knowledge. We need answers for jobs that do not depend on showing that you have gone to college and know all the things, because those things are devoid of meaning now. And so we have to rethink from the ground up what makes a human job interesting and worth doing and meaningful. And it doesn't make it easier to do that if all around us, everyone is shouting about AI taking away jobs. It is much more productive to sit there and actually ask yourself, well, what do we know about what AI is good at, and what do we know about what AI is architecturally maybe not so great at? And if we know what those things are, can we start to get a sense of where our skills might lie in the future? And so I want to suggest to you a short list of five things that I think you can take with you and that I think are unlikely to be disrupted by AI given where jagged intelligence is going. Number one is taste. This is get talked about a lot. I don't want to pretend I'm the first person to say it. But knowing what to build matters. Knowing how to solve a problem matters. Choosing the right thing from the million options AI gives you matters. Understanding what not to build matters. Taste matters. Extreme agency is number two. The ability to operate with minimal direction, maximize ownership. If AI is good at execution, humans must get good at goal setting. We must get good at defining priorities, course correcting, building systems. Agency is going to be highly valued. Number three is learning velocity. This one does not get talked about as much. It's not about knowledge accumulation. It's about speed of adaptation. If the half-life of a technical skill is being compressed farther and farther, then the value is going to accrue to those who can learn faster than knowledge inflates, who can surf the wave of obsolescence instead of just drowning in it. That's what matters. And I want to suggest to you that actually LLMs are not super great at learning right now, and the model makers know it. Right now, no LLM really fundamentally learns after it is released. Now, are they working on that problem? Yes, they're working on that problem, but that's a lot to work on, and it is fair to describe it as one of the weak spots in the jagged intelligence of AI right now. Number four, intent horizon, the capacity to maintain coherent goals. I've mentioned this on this channel before. I think it's a really big one. I don't know why it's not getting called out more. I don't care if your AI can go from 3 hours to 7 hours. It's nice. It's helpful for tactical tasks, but it's not a game changer. We need very long-term thinking, and that requires systems that are not just instantiated and amnesiac when they appear, which is what Andrei Karpathy described in his Y Combinator talk last week, that they just have no previous memory. They're just instantiated, and here's the chat. That is a fundamental problem. Interruptibility is number five. What do we do when we get interrupted? Most LLMs, that is against best practice. You interrupt the chat, that's a bad idea. Don't do that. Try and keep the chat really consistent. Come on, what are you doing? Humans can be interrupted. Humans can switch. Humans understand that shift. And so what I want to suggest is that those are examples of the kinds of skills that the jagged patterns of AI intelligence are telling us large language model architectures aren't intuitively great at. They're not telling us that capital isn't being allocated to fix those weak spots. It is. It's just that they're weak spots, and the pace of gain for those weak spots in the intelligence frontier may not be nearly as fast as the pace of gain for areas where LLMs are very, very strong, like pure knowledge. Okay, I think you get the idea. The choice that defines the next decade is this. We are living in a hyperinflating knowledge economy. Do we keep trying to desperately outknow the machines and accumulate credentials in a hyperinflationary spiral, or do we start to get into the judgment economy? Do we start to think about knowing when the machines are wrong, knowing when they're rigid, knowing when they're headed toward catastrophe, knowing how to have good judgment in a world that is full of knowledge? That is where I want to leave you, and I want to challenge you to tell me, what other skills is AI not showing very well right now on the jagged frontier? Cheers.